A funeral procession winds across the endless Mongolian steppe. The riders are silent, their horses kicking up dust beneath a cold sky. Inside the procession lies the greatest secret of the age, the death of Genghis Khan. According to legend, anyone who crossed their path was killed, just to keep the grave's location hidden. 8 centuries later, it remains undiscovered. But what kind of man commanded such devotion in life and such fear in death? Today, we uncover 10 surprising facts about Genghis Khan. Truths that reveal not only the ruthless conqueror, but the reformer, the visionary, and the enigma that still shapes the world. Genghis Khan began life not as a conqueror, but as an outcast. Born in 1162 under the name Temujin, he saw his father poisoned by rivals. His tribe abandoned his family on the frozen steppe. He was only 9 years old. The boy who would one day rule an empire was forced to scavenge roots and fight off starvation. In those bitter years, he learned that loyalty was fragile and betrayal could come from those closest to you. That betrayal hardened him into the man who would one day bend nations to his will. And as Genghis clawed his way back to power, he built an army unlike any seen before. How do you win a war before the first arrow is loosed? Genghis Khan's answer was fear. When his armies stormed a city, he sometimes left survivors alive on purpose, to spread tales of the horror that awaited the next. Entire towns surrendered at the sight of his banners. Others fled in panic, abandoning homes without a fight. His enemies feared his armies, but often underestimated his intelligence network. Scouts and spies rode ahead to map terrain and spread rumors, ensuring panic struck long before the Mongols arrived. By weaponizing terror and knowledge, he saved lives on his side. But this cruelty sowed hatred so deep that even today, his name strikes dread in some corners of the world. Yet while fear made him unstoppable in battle, it was his reforms that made him a ruler. The man remembered for rivers of blood, outlawed slavery within his own tribes. For centuries, Mongols had enslaved one another. But under Genghis Khan, he decreed no more. Every man, woman, and child was bound by loyalty to the Khan, not by chains. Warriors were free, brothers in arms owing allegiance to the empire itself. This change unified his people. It gave them a sense of equality rare in the medieval world. Though make no mistake, it was equality under his iron fist. By freeing his own, he built an army that fought with unmatched devotion. In medieval Europe, noble blood determined rank. But on the steppes of Asia, Genghis Khan broke that rule. He promoted soldiers based on skill and loyalty, not birth. A blacksmith's son could command thousands, while a chieftain's heir could be stripped of power if he failed. This unleashed fierce ambition. His men fought not just to survive, but to rise. The result was one of the most disciplined armies in history. Every warrior knew he could climb higher, and every officer knew failure meant disgrace. It was brutal. It was fair. And it made his empire unstoppable. How did a man who destroyed whole cities become a protector of priests? Genghis Khan declared that all faiths were welcome under his rule. Shamans, Buddhists, Muslims, Christians, all could worship freely. Killing a religious leader was punishable by death. Monasteries were exempt from taxes. This wasn't mercy for mercy's sake. It was strategy. By allowing conquered people to keep their gods, he made them easier to govern. The paradox of Genghis Khan is this: the man who spread terror also safeguarded beliefs he did not share. Yet tolerance had limits. The moment religion defied his authority, mercy ended. Genghis Khan carved his empire not just with the sword, but with the law. He created the yasa, a secretive legal code. The punishments were often extreme. Theft could mean death, desertion, execution, disobedience. So why would anyone accept such brutal rules? Yet, these laws also protected women from abduction, outlawed aristocratic privilege, and demanded honesty in trade. The same laws that punished thieves also protected merchants. Under Genghis Khan, caravans could travel farther with less risk than ever before. For a brief moment, the Silk Road was safer than many European highways of the time. Justice, as he saw it, was harsh but consistent. Everyone, peasant or prince, was bound under the same rules. In a world where law often bent to power, his code forced order onto chaos. And this order fueled expansion. At its height, Genghis Khan's empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea. It was the largest contiguous land empire the world has ever seen. He controlled lands larger than the Roman Empire at its peak, and he did it in a single lifetime. Under his banners, caravans moved safely. Along the Silk Road, trade flourished, and knowledge flowed across continents, from China to Persia to Europe. To hold it all together, he built something astonishing: the Yam, a mounted courier system that carried messages thousands of miles with breathtaking speed. And yet, the vastness of this empire carried its own risk. It could never be ruled by one man forever. Which is why Genghis Khan sought to bind it together not just with conquest, but with legacy. If you're finding this history valuable and want more stories like this, please consider subscribing to History Digest so you never miss the next chapter of the past. How powerful was Genghis Khan? So powerful that his DNA still echoes across humanity. Genetic studies suggest that as many as 16 million men alive today may be his direct descendants. Through marriages, alliances, and concubines, his lineage spread from Asia into Europe. He even married sisters to secure bonds between clans, a practice that shocked outsiders but strengthened Mongol unity. For some, this bloodline is a source of pride. For others, a reminder of conquest. No other figure in history left such a genetic imprint. But while his bloodline lived on, his final resting place vanished into legend. In 1227, Genghis Khan died, but how remains uncertain. Some say he fell from his horse, others claim he was struck in battle, and Chinese records whisper of something darker, an assassination. Whatever the truth, his death was treated as the empire's most dangerous secret. His funeral procession killed anyone they met. The soldiers who buried him were executed, and the slaves who dug his grave, slaughtered. To this day, his tomb has never been found. Some believe it lies hidden in Mongolia's Kentai Mountains, shrouded in silence, waiting to be uncovered. And that brings us to the ultimate paradox of the man himself. History remembers Genghis Khan as a conqueror, a tyrant, even a monster. But to his people, he was a liberator, a lawgiver, and the father of their nation. He killed without mercy, yet protected faiths not his own. He burned cities, yet built an empire where merchants thrived. He outlawed slavery, yet ruled through fear. The truth is, Genghis Khan defies simple labels. He was brutality and vision, cruelty and progress, destruction and creation, bound in one. 8 centuries later, we still struggle with the question: was Genghis Khan a savage destroyer or the architect of the modern world? Perhaps he was both, and perhaps that duality is why his shadow still stretches across history. If you've enjoyed what you've learned today, please like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, subscribing ensures you'll never miss the history that still shapes our world. Which of these truths about Genghis Khan surprised you most?